At the level of speaking, here Hegel really says it. Namely, I think that, and you can find it for free on the internet, there is a wonderful text by Heinrich Kleist from 1805. The title is in English, On the Gradual Formation of Thoughts in the Process of Speech, where he develops systematically, with wonderful examples from political history and so on, how all the big thoughts or big political gestures happened not that you thought well about it in advance, but you said something too much, you were in a panic, and then to pull yourself out of shit, you had to invent something quickly. But the point being, there had to be this moment of, in German, how do you translate into English, Versprechen, you know, when you say more than you wanted to say. And then there must be this kind of a failure. You said more than you wanted to say in a totally contingent way, excess, and then reacting to this, the big thought comes. For example, the famous example of Kleist is Mirabeau's famous reply to, you know, when King's representative came to the Troisième État, Assemblée Nationale, and asked them to disperse, go home. Mirabeau's reply is well known. The nation gives orders, it does not receive orders. But he shows how, reproducing the whole speech, how Mirabeau first didn't know what to answer, then he got entangled, and then up to pull out of his confusion. And I think we should go here, to the end. I even think that, you know, the one that I really like, Robespierre's Robespierre's famous moment of terror in Assemblée Nationale, where he came with the black book and said, I have here names of the traitors. And then he added, of course, after a little bit of silence to make an effect, I say that, and then he concluded, I say that anyone who trembles at this moment is guilty, for innocence never fears public scrutiny. You know this wonderful totalitarian, I love it, rhetorics, no? He showed the book, of course everybody was afraid, is my name in it? And then he said, if you are afraid, it's a proof that you are guilty. But I think that one can imagine his reasoning. After the first statement, he noticed signs of unrest and fear among the listeners. He quickly thought about how to exploit this fear. Should he offer the carrot and add something like, but if you are innocent, you have nothing to fear? Should he do some Franklin Delano Roosevelt platitude like, you only have fear itself? And then he told himself, no, better use this fear itself as an argument for guilt. Even I claim that there is Stalin's speech from the early 1930s, where he proposes radical measures against all those who even secretly oppose collectivization of farms. Stalin says, we should detect, I quote, and fight without mercy even those who oppose collectivization only in their thoughts. Yes, I mean this. We should fight even people's thoughts. I claim that what probably happened is that this passage was not prepared in advance. Stalin got caught into his rhetorical enthusiasm and was spontaneously carried away, saying even people's private thoughts should be controlled. Then he became aware, oh my God, what did I say? And then he said, oh no, I shouldn't retract. Let's make a virtue out of this blunder and say, yes, precisely this is what I meant, and so on and so on. Now we'll say, I'm bullshitting, this is romantic reaction to Hegel. No, the whole Hegelian theory of speech act and of act in general goes like this, that you want to say something, then you do the act or say it, and in doing it, you discover what you really wanted.
Traitors.
Yeah, but this is elementary.
But they're brought up in liberal world.
No, seriously, if you have some question more, otherwise, listen, I would be glad, I'm often here. What I would be glad to do, really glad, it's not this kind of rhetorical offer. When this shitty book that I was making will be out, why don't I come here without my boring, repetitive talk, and you give me a through what in police they call third degree, you know? Like you really ask me the hard questions, but we can presuppose maybe that you read a little bit the book, not for my narcissism, but so that I don't feel this. It's much easier for me if I can count on you knowing the topic. Then I can be much less repetitive.
What about like putting you in like Pulp Fiction with one of these things in your mouth, yeah, and then you just listen to critique for 3 hours, yeah? You cannot say anything, yeah?
First, I must say I'm a cultural conservative here. I hate Pulp Fiction. It's a shitty, pretentious movie and so on. I even prefer, if you want to understand Hegel, what is negation of negation, to conclude. Did you see that modest British comedy, it's not even a comedy, it's more a kind of melodrama with the young, how do you pronounce his name, Ivan McGregor, brushed off. You know that, working class, they are closing a mine. Okay, he there falls in love with a girl who works for those who are closing down the mine, so there is tension, but then there is love, she turns good. The point is this, there is a scene there, purely Hegelian, negation of negation, where he accompanies her after dinner at home, and in front of the building, she tells him, would you mind coming up for a coffee, no? And he says, yeah, but there is a problem, I don't like coffee. You know what she answers? No problem, I don't have any. Isn't it wonderful how the extremely vulgar message come up and screw me? You know, it's said only through making an empty offer and then saying like, I consider this simply, this is what Hegel means that, you know, the negation of negation doesn't bring you to the same zero port. No, in between you gain a beautiful girl to screw her, no? Or to give you a similar example, dialectics in Hollywood. Did you see Ninochka? But there is a wonderful detail there, nonetheless. I don't like it in general, but nonetheless. You remember how a guy there enters a cafeteria and asks, can I get coffee without cream, please? You know what the waiter answers, pure Hegel. Sorry, sir, we run out of cream, so I cannot give you coffee without cream, but we still have milk, so can I give you coffee without milk? It's absolutely correct. This is what Hegel means, you know. Negativity has to be inscribed into positive identity. Now you will say, but what's the point? Don't you get the same plain coffee? I don't have time to develop theory. The point is, no, you don't. Because the whole point is that here you have to pass from symbolic to the real. Precisely, coffee is not fully coffee. It needs something, like my stupid example of those Kinder Surprise eggs, you know, where you get a plastic toy. And you need something like milk, cream, whatever. My God, you British know this. The best theory of tea with milk, I know. I took it from that George Mike's classic, How to Be an Alien, you know, the classic satire. But they said British admired tea when they discovered it in India, but they had a problem. They are masochist in character. So the point was how to spoil the pleasure of the tea. They tried with honey, with this, with that. It didn't work. Then they discovered if you add a little bit of milk to tea, it looks like, how do you call this? The water that remains after you wash dishes and so on. So they were satisfied with, okay, but that's the Lacanian logic, sorry.
No, who was the woman who asked for coffee? Was it you who offered me coffee? I mean, offered all of us to come up for coffee.
My version is infinitely more vulgar, and I propose it. She was so mad at me to that journalist, Orlan Celan. You know, there is a wonderful vulgar joke, very Hegelian, very briefly, very briefly, where I used it yesterday, I know it, at ICA, where two guys, Soviet jokes, two guys are on a train, and one says, after a half an hour silence, one says to the other, did you already fuck a dog? The other says, it's disgusting, horrible. Of course, no. Did you? The first guy says, of course not, I agree with you, it's disgusting. Then the first says, but why then did you ask me? You know what the first guy says? Oh, it was just, I was looking for a good line to start a conversation, you know. And so this Odlandsela, we talked in Slovenia about what question he should ask me at a debate, and I told her, after, you should do this to me after the talk, if I accompany you to the hotel, you should ask me, would you care to come up to my room and ask you for what? And you would say, oh, you can fuck a dog there. And then I say, but I don't want to fuck a dog. And she tells me then the version of Brashkov, no problem, I also don't have a dog, you know that. Incredible. I thought you got the point. His questions to me were the academic version of, did you already fuck a dog? No, admit this.
Put a stop here before it gets any worse.
I think it's a good tendency. It can get worse. Yeah.
Will you come back in at 20 past 6? Because Catherine wants to give her a take. Talk slightly earlier.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be quite as long as expected. So we'll be back here in about 10-15 minutes. 20 past 6. Thank you very much.
Oh no, thank you. I mean, seriously, it's easy for me. You know, this time it was shit because I had to find a day.